Spellbinders and welcome back. My name is Deepa from DeeZinesByD and today I have two more club kits to share with you from Spellbinders. Now, today I'm sharing the small and large die of the month and I'm going to be focusing on the large die, which is absolutely gorgeous, and then I'll quickly go through the card I made with the small die at the end. Now, the large die of the month is so beautiful. You have this large heart and then these foliage pieces that fit within the heart, and then a bunch of other flowers and bits that you can use to build up those foliage pieces. The small die of the month is a stitching die. You not only can do stitching on the little heart that's included, but you can also do some stitching on the frame. And then there's a few sentiments that go with it. I noticed Spellbinders has been doing this a lot lately. The sentiments are not only embossable, but you can actually foil those as well. So let's get going with this card. Now, the first thing I want to do is I want to create my actual card base, and I'm using the heart to do this. Now, the heart for this set it's nice in the fact that it's large enough to use to make a shaped card like this, but it's still small enough that you could fit it on an A7 sized card. So as you can see, I just kind of left my die hanging off a little bit over the edge at the top of the heart, and that's how I created the card base so that it opens and closes. Now, I do want to clarify that I did use an already folded A2 size card base to cut the heart out of. So I already had the fold in the card, and all I was doing was cutting out the shape. Now, you do have to cut a second heart to go on top, because remember, we cut this a little shorter than the full heart, so the tops of the hearts would be cut off if I didn't do that. I'm using some Tim Holtz metallic jewels cardstock. This is a nice shiny teal cardstock I'm using for all of the other die cut pieces. I've also got some charcoal shimmer cardstock. This is by Sizzix, but I know that Spellbinders also has the brushed black cardstock. And then I've also got some glitter white, glitter teal, and some gold cardstock to put all of those little die cut flowers together to go on the foliage pieces. Now, when you do get the kit, it tells you how many of each flower that you need to cut out. Basically, every flower is used 3 times, except for the roses where you only need 2 of those. And all I'm doing here is I've taken that other heart that I've cut out, the complete heart. And again, that's just white cardstock. And then I'm taking these 2 filigree, or I don't know, foliage pieces. I think I'm going to call them, for the sake of this kit, the foliage pieces. And I'm just cut them out with the brushed black, or if you're using Spellbinders, or in this case the charcoal shimmer cardstock, and this just creates a nice like kind of shadow base, and then all of the flowers on top will stand out a little more. Now, once I've got that on there, I can go ahead and put together all of the little flowers. So these are like what I'd like to call buttercups, or they're like the cupped flowers. Basically, you have 3 layers to them. The back layer, which is in my case, the glitter layer. Then I've got that gold piece in the center, which is the center of the flower. And then you've got the shiny teal layer, which is the actual front of the cup. And I'm just attaching those fronts with a bit of, with a foam square. Now, this is not the foam square that comes with the cardstock. Sorry, not the cardstock, the card kit, because those foam squares are really tall, but I am going to use those a bit later. Right now, I'm just using some foam squares that are a little bit thinner than that, probably half the size. Okay, so I've got all of those done there. And now I'll put together the other flowers. Now for the rose, pretty simple. You get 2 layers. The back layer I've done with some gold cardstock, and the top layer, for one, I'm using the glitter, and for the second one, I'm using the metallic cardstock. Now, I just want to take a second to say sorry if my voice goes in and out. I have this cough that I've had for a while. It goes away and it comes back, and it goes away and it comes back. And so I've kind of determined that I need to go get another COVID shot. Maybe it's that, maybe it's the flu, God knows. But I'm sorry if my voice goes in and out. So anyways, I've gone ahead and I've put together the 3 smaller flowers. There's just 2 layers for those, just like the rose. And this one has like a small, tiny center. And then after that, we've got, I don't know what piece I'm doing next here. Alrighty. We've got the larger, or the curvy flowers was what I was calling them. Again, you have, actually no, this one has 3 layers. So I'm using smaller foam squares here. You can see they're really small. And I'm just going to put the metallic teal cardstock on top of that. And then on top of that, there's a small, tiny center of the flower that I'm doing in gold. Now you can see that these smaller squares, they're great for getting into smaller spaces, maybe for frames and things like that. But it is a little tricky to get the backing off of it. So you can see I'm using my poking tool for my die cuts, or I'll use some tweezers. A combination of both usually works. It doesn't really help that um, my nails are a little bit long here, but I will persevere and get those backs off. I don't care what I have to do. Okay, so this last layer, or the center of these flowers, I'm just using some liquid glue here. They're so small, there's no way I'm going to be able to cut a foam piece to fit, nor do I need it. It's got enough dimension on its own. So once these three are done, then I think I have one more set of flowers to do. Oh, okay. No, I don't. Sorry. So those are the flowers. So I think there's like the cup flowers, there's those weird curvy ones, there's the rose, and then there's also like the smaller flowers. So when you go to add the flowers to the foliage piece, you'll notice that some of them overlap, and do pay attention to that if you are adding foam like I am. If you're putting everything flat on the page, then it's really not a big deal. You just kind of have to overlap them where you see fit. I'm adding glue all over the place, but I am going to switch some of these flowers out for the liquid glue for some adhesive for some foam squares. I'm using two levels or two thicknesses of foam squares. So not only are you going to get like one level of dimension, you're going to get two. Actually, I would say three, because you have the one, the two, the first height, and then the third height, right? So you can see this here with those three flowers. So that white flower was flat. The rose, I used the thinner foam square, and then for the cupped flower, I used the foam square that comes with the card kit, which is like double the thickness of the original foam square. And I'm just going to do this throughout the rest of the card. Once I get all of the flowers on where I want them, you could also, if you wanted to, cut some extra flowers and fill in the design a little bit more. Or if you wanted, you could just use that foliage piece on its own and do some mass production of Valentines here. I'd say if you really wanted to, all you really need is maybe the heart-shaped base, card base. You need two of those foliage pieces to fill in the heart, and then a sentiment, and maybe one of these flowers if you wanted to add just a little bit something extra. And those would make perfect Valentines that you could mass produce. So I've gone ahead and stuck on all of the flowers here. Now, as I mentioned, I have an extra little glitter flower there, and I'm just going to tuck it in behind that white one on the right side just to add a little something extra. I just thought it looked a little, I don't know, there was too much white on that one side, so I wanted to add a little bit more color. So now I'm adding some glue to the card base that we cut earlier and just attaching this heart to the front. And you can see as it is, it looks gorgeous. Now I'm going to use the sentiment that comes with the set. I've already cut it out of some black and gold glitter cardstock and attached them together in an offset fashion to create a bit of a shadow. I originally just had the black, but I added the gold because the black was kind of getting lost in the design. The gold just kind of helps it stand out a little bit. And I'm just sticking it on top in areas where there's not too much dimension so I can get it to attach to the actual card base. Now that that's done, I decided I have some extra die cut pieces. I want to do a little something on the inside. So I grabbed the clear stamp set, and I'm using this You're Always on My Mind stamp. I just stamped it out with some First Divine Claire Nocturne ink, and then I'm grabbing a couple more of those extra die cuts and I'm adding them there to the bottom left of that heart. So this just kind of completes my card and carries the design from the front to the inside. And I do this on all of my cards. I have been doing them for years. Originally, when I started card making, I kind of called it card designing inside and out because I like to pay attention to the insides of my cards as much as I do to the front. So anytime I get a chance to continue my design on the inside, I always do, especially when you're die cutting. This is real simple. Just cut a few extra, stick them on the inside, and your card will be fully complete like this. Now I've gone ahead and added some gems on the inside there, and I decided I wanted to add some gems on the outside as well. There's still a lot of white there, and I just wanted to add a bit more of the darker color that's in the foliage. So I've got some black clear gems, and I'm just adding them in the spaces where I feel there's a little bit too much white. I'm adding a couple dots here and there. And I know that Spellbinders doesn't have clear black gems, but they do have some pearls, and those would work perfectly for this. As with all of my videos, everything that I've used is linked in the description below inside my blog. So everything, including all of the extra bits and suggested products that you could kind of add on to your Spellbinders orders, including those black pearls, are also in there. Okay, so now let's do a quick rundown of the small die of the month. So all I did here was I used two of the frame and I cut them out both from white cardstock. Then I cut one of the frames along these dots that I'm showing. And I cut it so that the dots were a complete circle, and then I attached the two together. I cut off the line from the first frame, I cut the second one at the dots, and I attached them so that it's one continuous frame. You can actually see where the join is there a bit, but it's really completely unnoticeable with the rest of the design. Now for the heart, it is a stitching die, so I cut two of them and I did this alternate stitching. I wanted to just make it look a little bit different, and as you can see, all the lines are pointing inwards towards the bottom of the heart, and both hearts are pointing inwards towards the center of the card to the sentiment. So I took the sentiment die, I picked one of the sentiments, I cut it out of some of that teal metallic cardstock, and then I put some gold cardstock at the back there just to highlight it a bit. Then I took some gold matte cardstock and I put it through my die cutting machine with the embossing folder to get that beautiful print on the back. And this is the embossing folder of the month, which works perfectly with this design. And then I attached everything to that card base with foam, so there's more dimension there. And then finally, I took some teal gems and I added them to the centers where you would do some extra stitching on the frame, because I felt there was enough stitching on the hearts as it is. And that's basically my my small die inspiration. So that's the small and large die of the month for December. I hope you guys have been inspired to create something similar yourself. And don't forget to check out everything within the description below. It's linked within my blog, all the products that I've used. And if you are inspired by my work, please do use the affiliate links. I get a little bit of a commission at no extra charge to you. And yeah, that's basically it. So I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you again next time. Bye.